Welcome on board the news track. I'm Rahul Kamal. Should Prime Minister Modi meet President Xi at the big Shanghai Cooperation Organization conference in Uzbekistan next week? That's the biggest question in Indian strategic circles, and I'll take it up on the news track tonight.
After 2 years standoff, India-China signal disengagement. Troops pull back from Gogra friction point. Indian Army stands firm, China agrees. Big step before big Modi-Xi meet. Disengagement now, but the induction when? Chinese games in shadow of big picture.
After a 2-year-long standoff, the Indian and Chinese armies are finally beginning to pull back from the Gogra-Hotsprings area at Patrol Point 15 in Ladakh. However, in Depsang and in Dempchong, the two armies remain right in front of each other. The big question at this moment is, should Prime Minister Modi meet Chinese President Xi Jinping? Substantial pullback has happened, but areas of friction remain. Is there enough forward movement to warrant a meeting between the two principals? That's the one big question that's being widely debated in Indian policy circles at this moment.
Gogra-Hot disengagement at LAC currently underway. India and China to complete disengagement at Patrol Point 15 by the 12th of September. All temporary structures to be taken down. Allied infrastructure to be dismantled, landforms to be restored to pre-standoff period, both sides to mutually verify the disengagement. India and China are taking gradual steps towards restoration of peace and tranquility along the line of actual control, with the government announcing mutual disengagement even from PP-15, Gogra-Hotspring in eastern Ladakh. Details of the disengagement in terms of the extent of the buffer zone and pullback are yet to be made public. It is still not known whether this will lead to de-escalation and ultimate de-induction. Chinese and Indian troops had clashed at multiple points along the LAC in Ladakh in the summer of 2020, starting with friction at the north bank of Pangong Tso. India carried out a QPQ operation on the south bank of Pangong Tso along the Kailash Hills, dominating the Chinese Moldo garrison, forcing China to initiate mutual withdrawal both from north and south bank of the Pangong Lake.
भारत को अब आप टेकन फॉर ग्रांटेड नहीं ले सकते हैं। अब ये बराबरी की बात है, और अगर भारत के साथ रिश्ते अच्छे रहेंगे तो उनके लिए एक बड़ी समस्या कम हो जाएगी। ये एक सबसे बड़ी बात है, और भारत की जो नीति है वो बड़ी साफ है। भारत चाहता है पीस और डायलॉग, लेकिन बराबरी के दर्जे पर। धूर्तता की जो उनकी पहचान है उसको उन्हें कम करना पड़ेगा।
Earlier in June 2020, there were fierce clashes at Galwan, resulting in the supreme sacrifice of 20 Indian braves led by Colonel Santosh Babu. On the Chinese side, according to Russian wire agency TASS, more than 40 Chinese soldiers were killed. China officially concedes 5 deaths, including the commanding officer of the People's Liberation Army battalion deployed.
जो 2020 में स्थिति थी, उसको दोबारा उस स्टेटस को बहाल नहीं कर देता है। कहना एक बात है, करना दूसरी बात है। हमें यकीन नहीं करना चाहिए। अगर ऐसा कहना कर रहा है, ये समाचार सही है, तो ये बड़ी अच्छी बात है।
There have been 16 rounds of co-commander level talks resulting in the disengagement so far. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has repeatedly said improvement in the overall India-China relations depend entirely on peace and tranquility along the line of actual control.
The situation has arisen due to the disregard by China in 2020 of written agreements with us not to mass forces at the border. So when a large country disregards written commitments, I think it's an issue of legitimate concern for the entire international community.
Has China, so far reluctant to withdraw from PP-15, accepted a tactical retreat as a face saver to enable a meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Samarkand, Uzbekistan next week? Will there be a summit remains the big question. With Geeta Mohan in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
3 times in the last few weeks, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar has sent a tough message to China, drawing a red line, suggesting very clearly that normalcy between India and China is predicated on normalcy on the border, and that India demands that the status quo ante must be restored and the Chinese army must pull back.
And the focus of these interactions have naturally been on the situation in our border areas. Our meeting had led to an understanding on disengagement and de-escalation. The challenge, of course, has been to implement it on the ground. We've had 15 rounds of talks between senior commanders, and progress has been achieved on several friction points from the disengagement perspective. The situation has arisen due to the disregard by China in 2020 of written agreements with us not to mass forces at the border. So when a large country disregards written commitments, I think it's an issue of legitimate concern for the entire international community. In terms of, how do you sort of look at the ups and downs, the swings in the relationship? Now, obviously, when a relationship is doing well, we would respond positively. So if you extend your hand, I'm going to extend my hand too. But if you point a gun at me, I'll point a gun at you. I mean, that's reasonable, that's logical. So we want today, our message to the Chinese is very clear. Look, we want good relations. We will be the second and third largest economy in the world in the very near future. I can't have tension in the border. I can't have the kind of issues I had in Galwan and then say, well, let's carry on with business in the rest of our relationship. That's unreal.